Drew Ali came for me. He had me on his mind. And I'm so glad he came for me. 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 My prophet worked for me. He had me on his mind. And I'm so glad he worked for me. 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 My prophet prayed for me. He had me on his mind. And I'm so glad he prayed for me. And I'm so glad he prayed for me. I'm so glad he prayed for me. I'm so glad he prayed for me. Islam. Islam, Islam, Islam. Happy Wellness Wednesday. We want to make sure that you all can hear us. If you are able to hear us.
Want to mirror the screen?
No.
Oh, okay.
Praise Allah. If you can hear us, please type 1 in the comments. If you can hear us, please type 1. Help us out. Oh, not yet. Islam sisters and brothers, welcome to another episode of Sakara Sacred Healing. Happy Wellness Wednesday. Praise Allah. They can hear us. Praise Allah.
Praise Allah. Happy Wellness Wednesday. First, I want to rise in thought and give praise to the one who is immeasurable in his immensity and incomprehensible in his profundity, to the one who is supreme, most wise and beneficent, and to him alone belongs worship, adoration, thanksgiving, and praise. I give high honors to his illustrious Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, 1913 AD. I give honors to all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, etc. Give honors to the forerunner, Marcus Messiah Garvey. Marcus Garvey was to Noble Drew Ali what John the Baptist was to Jesus around 2,000 years ago. I give honors to all past leadership, all past Supreme Grand Advisors and moderators, Brother C. Kirkman Bey, Brother F. Nelson Bey, and Brother J. Blakely Bey, to our former Grand Sheik and moderator, Brother R. Loville, to our current and present Grand Sheik and moderator of the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated, Brother R. Jones Bey and his assistant, Brother A. Hopkins Bey. Give honors to the Grand National Chairman, Brother P. Chase Hill, and his assistant, Brother L. Thompson Bey. Give honor to the Grand National Chairman, the Grand National Mufti, Brother J. Frazier Bey, and we want to hold send some healing energy toward the Grand Mufti at this time. You know, he's dealing with his father made a transition, so we want to send up some healing thoughts toward our good brother J. Frazier Bey, the Grand Mufti of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and his special staff. I give honor to all Grand Governors and their assistants, all Grand Sheiks and their assistants. I give honor to our two flags combined, the American flag and the Moorish flag, which gives us the right. I give honor to our charter, which gives us the right to practice and promote Islamism in America without molestation. I give honor to all literature and the remedy brought for the uplifting of fallen humanity. And I give honor to each and every one of you. Give honor to man, because when man honors man, he honors his father, God, Allah. To open up this dialogue, I'll take a read from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali by the guiding of his father, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father, God, Allah. We'll take a read from page 19. From chapter 11. Jesus and Barada together they read the sacred books. I'm gonna read instruction 35.
Okay.
In yonder kingdom of the soul, this carnal evolution is not known, and the great work of masterminds is to restore the heritage of man to bring him back to his estate that he had lost, when he again will live upon the ethers of his native plain.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah, praise Allah. I rise giving praises to the great God Allah. I give honors to Prophet Noble Jew Ali. I give honors to all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Mohammed, Buddha, Confucius, etc. I give honors to everything that Brother T. Berry Bay has given honors to. I give honors to man, for when man honors man, he honors his Father God Allah. Again, welcome, peace and divine love, family. Welcome to another sacred episode of Sakara Sacred Healing. This is season 10, episode 4. Our healthy dialogue is on the great work. In this session, we are going to try to echo. We're going to try to echo through time and space. Echo through time and space experiences that we are having as we unfold in these lessons. The great work is the healthy dialogue.
Yes.
And so I like to say the great work is what? What is the great work? Let's ask that question. What is the great work? Brother T. Berry Bay.
Well, I just read from chapter
11.
Chapter 11. You know, it talks about the great work of masterminds. Is to hold on, let me see, so we can make verbatim, and then we give our portion on the great work.
Okay.
Yeah, chapter 35. I mean, instruction 35. Chapter 11. And yonder kingdom of the soul, this carnal evolution is not known. And the great work of masterminds is to restore the heritage of man, to bring him back to his estate that he had lost, when he again will live upon the ethers of his native plane. Now, what is his heritage? You know, the great work is, you know, the prophet says, he said, I brought immortality to light, and I painted on the walls of time a rainbow for the sons of men, and what I did all men shall do. He said, this gospel of the resurrection of the dead is not confined to Jew or Greek, but it is the heritage of every man, of every time and clime. So that great work is to help restore us to get back. We want to get back to being one with the great Father God Allah. But that great work, it starts on self. That's the great work. Reflection is the business of man. A sense of his state is his first duty. So, you know, the great work is the work of transforming our vices into virtues. That's the great work. That's the great work of the true alchemist. That's alchemy. Transforming your vices into virtues. You see, it's the alchemical process of transforming our vices into virtues starts with Sakara. So Sakara. Sakara is an ancient Sanskrit word that means thoughts become things. So you transform your vices into virtues by changing the way we think. You know, using the tools we handle in the workshop of the mind, where things are made of thought and when we build up character. That's the great work. Ultimately, is to build up character and to get back with your great Father, God Allah.
You know, you said that it's alchemical work. You know, how do you put that in real time? Because, you know, most struggle with change, you know, or adjusting or fixing themselves, studying themselves. Let's talk about that. How do we, would you express?
Practice the process of practicing. We have to practice. Remember, the Quran doesn't say articulation anointed her with the oil of wisdom. See, sometimes we get caught up in talking. It says application anointed her with the oil of wisdom.
That's right.
You see, you have to be the message that you bring. You have to, because if we're not, when we don't be the message we bring, then the words of our mouth has no interpretation. You see, so
Yeah.
that's what ultimately the great work is about. It's about work on self.
Hmm.
It's about the work on self. That's the great work.
Right. Wow. Wow.
We have a great work, and then masterminds have a great work.
Hmm. So I had put some notes down. The great work is the soul journey toward wholeness and divine remembrance.
Mm. Can you repeat that?
The great work is the soul's journey toward wholeness and divine remembrance.
Mm. Okay.
You know, what you were saying, all the things that we need to do, you have to learn to remember them again.
Right.
Because you chose the task.
Right.
But when we this fall makes us forget when we attach to the carnal things, sweet sugar, desires for carnal things, being drunk on carnal things, we get away from the task of doing all the things you just expressed. Right? So,
and memory. That's where we give honors to the memory.
Right.
We have to give honors to the memory. Even Allah have a book of remembrance,
right,
where every registry is made of every thought, every word, and every deed.
Right.
And his eye, his is the secret of every heart, and he remembereth it forever. He also asks a question. He said, "Who remembereth himself as a boy?" It says, men foreseeth the evil that is to come.
Right.
And they remember it when it passed.
Right.
Says, complain not with the fool of the shortness of time, because with thy days thy can't remember, because with thy days thy cares are shortened.
Right.
Remember thine own dignity. Remember thine own imperfection. Remember thou art made her reasonable, his reasonable companion. Remember the relationship that bindeth thee to love and unity. And not a stranger. Right. And also, finally, O son of society, examine thy heart, call remembrance to thy aid. And if any of these things thou have transgressed, make a speedy reparation to the utmost of thy good.
That's right.
That's the great work.
That's the great work.
Part of the great work.
Right.
Part of the great work.
And so I also noted, this spoke to what you were saying about practice. It is a daily unfolding of becoming, not just doing, but being. And I want to read from chapter 2.
Okay.
Where it speaks about, I'll just start from 26 to 28. And when the world is ready to receive, lo, Allah will send a messenger to open the book and copy from its sacred pages all the messages of purity and love. Then every man of earth will read the words of life in language of his native land, and men will see the light and walk in the light and be the light, and man again will be at one with Allah.
Praise Allah.
So when we speak about the being, it speaks about be with Allah.
Right.
We have to learn to be the message that we bring.
Yes.
Make a very part the messages that you're receiving. It says that the man has to have the light before he receives the light. And what I take away from that, having the light means you possessing the lessons that you're practicing to unfold all the things you expressed about the alchemical transformation.
Because this light is unlike the light of the sun. This is a consciousness.
It's a consciousness. It's a consciousness. And so you have to, you become it. You have to learn to become it.
Right.
It's not an overnight task.
Right.
And you spoke about we never arrived to it. We never
it's perpetual work. As long as you on this plane to manifest, we're going to be hindered.
Yes.
We're going to be hindered. We're going to be challenged, because that's what comes with this plane to manifest.
Right.
That's what comes with this carnal nature. That's a foe.
Right.
A foe, and that comes with the plane to manifest. So there's no arriving at anything. It's a perpetual process that we have. It's a continuation of practicing. That's why practicing is so imperative, because practicing, creates the process.
Right.
It enhances
does.
the process.
It does.
The more we practice.
Mm-hmm.
There's no knowing without being. You know, sometimes we kid ourselves and think we can know something, but we never been it.
Mm.
You understand? Prophet said, for man to know, he himself must be what he knows.
That's
You
right.
can't. If you never been something, then you don't know it.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah, I agree. It's also a keynote. The great work is often invisible, done in the quiet, private places of your heart. The still small voice. And so it's not an outward show.
No.
It's not an outward show, but people can see.
Right.
They can see you.
They can see your evolution.
They can see your evolution. It speaks for itself. It's the light, unlike
the light of the sun. It's a consciousness. It's a vibration.
It's a vibration.
People can feel it. Vibration. That's that light.
Yes.
You know, feeling is seeing. Feeling is seeing.
Yes. Wow.
And the great work is different from. I have to say this. The great look is different from the great work is different from a good look. Sometimes we can invest so much of our time in a good look that we abandon the great work.
Right.
It's two different demonstrations.
Right.
You know, a good look and a great work. It's
so
two
explain
different
that.
demonstrations.
What do you mean by a good look?
Well, a good look is when we don't want to hold ourselves first accountable, and then we don't hold each other accountable. Chapter on Know Thyself, it talks about and it is accountable for its actions. It's talking about the soul. It's our nature. Accountability is our nature. And what I learned to see about the word accountability, one of the synonyms for accountability is obedience. And obedience is the first maxim of Allah, or the first maxim of truth. Right. The first maxim of truth is teach him obedience and he shall bless thee. But obedience, the first maxim of Allah, I say the first maxim of Allah because it's the first maxim of truth. What is truth? Truth is ought. What is ought? Or is Allah. So it's the first maxim of Allah. The first maxim of truth is obedience. So accountability is obedience. And sometimes we confuse accountability with judgment. Right. Right. We all make that mistake. We all have made that mistake. We think when we're being held accountable, we're being judged. Right. Accountability is a part of the great work. We can't. What we do is we put up these constrictive parametric borders in our psyche. When somebody is when we're being held accountable, we say, "Oh, we pulling my weed." That's a border you just put up. When somebody's holding you accountable, you say, "Oh, they judging me." Right. That's another wall you put up. You got two walls now. When somebody's holding you accountable, you say, "Oh, they hating." That's another wall you put up. You know, when somebody says, holding you accountable, hold us accountable, we say, "Oh, they're the enemy." Now you got four walls. You trapped yourself in your own psyche. Right. Accountability is not judgment. Accountability is not hate. Accountability is not an enemy. You understand? Right. Accountability is obedience. You know, so we have to because sometimes we misuse the English language and we start misinterpreting things and we call an accountability judgment. Right. Don't mix it with pulling. Don't mix it with pulling weeds. What happens is can I continue what one of them is? Yes. Because I could go on.
But I don't want you to forget your thought. So maybe you should continue on.
No, what I was going to say is like we have to look at this like. Corporations or wealthy rich people, not all wealthy rich people, when people don't want to be held accountable for wronging someone or some others, what's the first thing they do? They file Chapter 11.
Chapter 9.
No, they file Chapter 11.
Oh.
They file Chapter 11 when one doesn't want to be accountable for the when they don't want to compensate. Right. When they don't want to be held accountable for the wrongdoing, they file Chapter 11. Right. What we have picked up a habit of doing within the Moorish Science Temple of America, when we don't want to be held accountable, we file Chapter 9. Right. We start talking about somebody pulling weeds and taking the whole demonstration out of context. Right. You have to keep chapter 9 in context, read it in its entirety,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll realize that most times when people say pulling weeds, it doesn't even apply to them. It doesn't apply to me. It doesn't apply to you. You know, chapter 9 was talking about a caste system in ancient India, where the rich, you know, the rich Brahmic peace,
Right.
where there's a caste system where they were looking down on the people that was at the bottom of the caste. You know, the courtesans, the thieves.
Right.
You know, and they were saying that they didn't think that the people were worthy enough to sit in the presence of the Master Jesus and be taught. They didn't think that they were deserving of it.
Right.
So it says, Allah and all master men judge men by what they are, not by what they seem to be, not by their reputation and their fame.
Right.
But when people get that instruction mixed up with, if you read it, it says Allah and all master men, and they use the word judge. First of all, we can't judge.
Right.
So they ain't talking about you. Take yourself out the equation. You're not Allah in that way. You're not a master, and you're not qualified to judge anyone. So it says Allah and all master men judge. It uses the word judge. Go look at it. See, this is a different master men.
Because they're not judging
right. They don't
in a carnal way that we
right looking at it.
Yeah.
So that's how you have to know where you fit into the instruction, and you have to know when it doesn't apply in that way to us. As far as we're not Allah in that sense, and we're not master men.
When master men, you know, I believe they will not be attached to the thought of coveting,
right,
envy,
right,
holding back arms. They don't want to see no harm to anyone, right? So it's a difference. It's when a master, the master mastered themselves well enough to know what he needs to, because it's another word that the prophet used in measure.
Right.
You know, so they have a good eye for measurement. You know,
that's why they can judge,
right?
Because they're divinely prepared. You understand? So they measure is like you said.
And my thing, listen, we're striving for this
purity, right?
We're striving.
Yeah. But you have to have the courage to have the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have the courage to have the conversation because a lot of us think that way.
Yeah.
A lot of us, you know, we think that way. We've learned how to manipulate the instructions or the English language to fit our own agendas.
Right.
You know, it's called the art of words. You know, and that's why application is so important. If you want to measure somebody's words, watch what they do.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
That's why he said a registry is made of every thought, word, and deed. You have to watch the deeds of ourselves, because if we're not being the message, then the words of our mouth have no interpretation. That goes for all of us.
That's right. Wow, Brother Berry Bay, you said a lot. But I wanted to go back to where you were speaking about truth. You know, you were speaking about
the maxims of truth.
No, you were saying, and it made me think of instability of man.
Right.
See not unto thyself, behold, truth breedeth hatred.
Right.
And I will avoid it. Dissimulation raises friends, and I will follow it. Are not thy enemies? I'm not the enemy made by truth better than the friend obtained by flattery.
Right. Because when you deal, these enemies are made by Allah. I say, are not the enemies made by truth.
Right.
Right. Better than friends obtained by flattery. See, one of the synonyms to flattery is deceit. Deceit is connected to flattery. So flattery, that's why the prophet said better than friends obtained by flattery. You know, so we have to be careful with, because once you entertain flattery, then that's a sign that you are a flatterer. See? One begets the other.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, we definitely got to be careful of that.
You have to be careful.
But what helps you to be careful is to
all a part of the great work.
Get a hold of the vanity in yourself.
Right.
Drawing a circle around your passions. You
Mhm.
desire about things.
Mhm.
Because when people flatter you and you don't recognize that the flattery is not sincere,
Mhm.
because it's not.
Flattery is never
It's
sincere. It's
right.
deceit.
So
That's why it's
right.
flattery.
So right. So
Mhm.
it's not a sincere demonstration,
Mhm.
but we fall for it when we are not strong enough within
Mhm.
ourselves to know who we are and what
Mhm.
we're capable of. You know.
Right.
So yeah,
Mhm.
that's a very powerful. Behold, truth breedeth hatred,
Mhm.
because we see someone as hating
You see,
if
you
they
can
give us
say,
the
yeah,
truth.
truth, yeah, can be perceived as hate.
It can be perceived as hate.
We've all done that, at
Hmm.
some point in our life, seeing truth as hate.
Because we don't want to see ourselves.
Mhm.
We can't see ourselves.
Right.
And I will avoid dissimulation raises friends, and I
Mhm.
will follow it. Are not the enemies made by truth better than the friends obtained
Obtained
by
by
flattery?
flattery. Mhm.
Naturally doeth man desire the truth,
Truth. Yeah, naturally.
yet when it is before
For him,
him, he will not
apprehended.
apprehend it.
Mhm.
And if it forces itself upon him, he is not offended at
At
it.
it. Right. Sometimes truth forces itself upon us, and you can't be offended at it. You can't be offended at it. It's all a part of the great work. The great work is all a part of accepting,
Right.
you know,
Hmm.
acknowledging, accountability.
Right.
Yeah, I have a few.
Okay.
I have some.
Keep going. You have some notes you want to
Yeah, I
share
have
too?
some
I have
notes.
some more keynotes.
Oh, okay.
Plenty of them.
Oh, you have some more? Okay, let
I
me
have
read.
some, but you can bring yours
Yeah,
if
I
you want.
share some notes. Where is it? Um, yeah, I have some notes about accountability. I think I talked about accountability
Hmm.
briefly, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, the great work, different levels of working on yourself. You spoke about the other day.
Hmm.
You know, um, the great work is the inner building of our temple,
Mm.
the temple within.
Yeah.
Learning
Yeah.
how to love instead of hate.
That's right.
Having courage for truth, for Allah.
Hmm.
Um, we have to practice friendly, and we have to practice and accept friendly admonition. That's a part of the great work too.
Right. Right.
We have
Yeah.
to accept friendly admonitions, and we have to,
Yes. We really do.
teach
Friendly.
friendly.
Admonition. It's not meanness.
Teaching that Allah and man are one. We remember we are the teacher and the student. We are the farmer and the miner.
Come on, Mo.
We are the truth and we are falsehood and truth.
Strangely mixed.
Learning the difference between accountability and judgment. I just talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, we can build a wall around us with the misuse of the instructions if we're not careful.
If we're not careful, yes.
Yeah. The wise man versus the fool. Yeah, the simulation you just talked about, and flattery are deceit.
You just spoke about something that I want to touch on. Oh man, I cannot find the notes.
Right.
Not to that particular thing, but yeah. As we move forward,
because we sometimes we have this, we create sophisticated language.
Right.
We surround ourselves with sophisticated language to avoid ourselves, because that's what we run. If we run from, we really running from ourselves.
I wrote a note about listening.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go. How can we make a difference was one of the keynotes.
Okay.
I'm jumping ahead because of what you just read.
Right.
I wrote be a humble student, and the teacher will appear. Because you were saying we're a student and a teacher.
Yes, we're a student and a teacher. Yeah.
Right. The student knows how to listen.
We're the solution and the problem.
We're the solution and the problem, Mo.
We're both of them. We're both.
It's the yin and the yang.
Yeah, we have to accept that, though. Know that we are the solution and the problem.
Yes. And so when you're a humble student knows how to receive. You're listening. You're hearing the good news about how you can go about, because the experience is being shared, just like the sages did.
Right.
Remember, they had to all sit together and they had to prepare or
Mhm.
formulate lessons for the people,
Mhm.
right? And so
Mhm.
that's what you're speaking about, how they had to do it with
I
themselves
have to
first.
say this. I see our good sister Ruth Higgins Bay,
Yes,
divine science. Remember?
divine
Science. That's
science.
divine
Islam,
science.
Sister R. Higgins
Bay,
Bay.
that's right.
Praise
Divine
Allah. Thank you
science.
for
That's
tuning
what
in.
that prophet brought.
We just having
Divine
a
science.
we're having a healthy dialogue about the great work. This is a vast discussion,
Mm-hmm.
so we can't touch it on one
Yeah.
episode.
Mm-hmm.
But we would love to have you on if you want to come and sit with us and talk
and
about this topic.
what is healthy? What is a healthy dialogue? A healthy dialogue is
Mhm.
when you take verbs, nouns, adjectives, predicates, words, sentences, paragraphs, and you put good intention
Right.
in every word, every verb, every adjective, in your expression. When your expression is just driven with good intention,
Right.
that's a healthy dialogue. That's a healthy dialogue, and that's where healing all starts with communication, transparency.
Transparency. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I also want to go back to when you spoke about practice.
Mm-hmm.
Practice is key
Mm-hmm.
because when you practice, you develop a consistent regimen of unfolding. The prophet said, as the man unfolds, as God unfolds.
Mm-hmm.
It's an unfoldment. And so I wrote a note, an affirmation that we all can use. I want to share. I am an active participant in my divine unfolding. It's a good mantra.
Right.
I usually create some mantras for myself depending on the situation.
So that's application anointed her with the oil.
The wisdom is application to what you were sharing about the importance of practice.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm sharing a mantra of mine that I use, and it's not mine, it's ours. It comes off the ethers,
right?
And we grab it and we take hold and make it a part of every
Not
part.
a word is lost.
Not a word is lost. There's nothing new under the sun, so nothing belongs to me. And sometimes we share. I heard someone say, if you don't want the more to know it, don't think it. Sometimes you can grab a thought, and I hear somebody demonstrate or read a chapter that I wanted to read. It happens so often.
Because we're bound by cords.
We're bound by cords to every other living thing. And so to practice, I am an active. I also, have this slogan of action and wellness.
Right.
You have to be active in your wellness. You can't show it to people that I'm active. The outward show only comes after you reach a certain point to maintain the practice.
Right.
It becomes a part of every part. So I am an active participant in my divine unfolding. And I wanted to match that with as man unfolds, as God unfolds. Okay, and our next key point to study yourself is to return to your spiritual blueprint.
That's right. Allah.
You jumped so far ahead with your demonstration. You were speaking about how Allah is true.
Wisdom speaks from the highest plane of spirit life.
Come on now.
So wisdom is the consciousness that man is caught. The Allah and man are one. Wisdom, yeah. Allah.
And the healing part you spoke about. Because sometimes we want to jump and be a healer. We want to be these practitioners of things that help other people heal, but we have to start with ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And so I have here in the same keynote, it says, it is a sacred unveiling. Who am I? Who am I beyond trauma? You can't explain that if you're still in trauma. If you're in the meantime of trauma. Trauma comes with drama. When you're healed, healed ourselves.
And the healing is perpetual.
Right. Let me not say it like it's a past tense.
Yeah.
As you heal,
right.
You don't behave a certain
way. Yeah, you
reach
certain levels, degrees to being healed. But before you can embark on a journey of healing others, you have to first heal. We have to heal ourselves.
Yes.
You know, we have to heal ourselves
It's
because
an inward journey.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
an inward, but because of what? You was getting ready to say something. We have to heal ourselves because
Because we can injure ourselves or you can injure
injure
others.
others.
You know, so you don't want, you know, when you talk about healing is healing is a selfless sacrifice.
Right.
It's an extreme sacrifice, you
Right.
know. But true healing takes place by your message.
Your message.
You know, people they say children follow what we do. Everybody follow what we do, not just children.
Man like to follow, not to lead.
Right. Everybody follow what they
follow.
see,
Yes.
what they experience. It's just human. You know, it's it's part of us.
Yes, it is.
It's a part of us.
So to study yourself is to return to your spiritual blueprint. It is a sacred unveiling. Who am I beyond trauma, identity, and performances? How am I performing in my life? How I treat people? How do I show up? You can't pretend.
Serve your kin,
Yes.
those who are no kin,
A
the stranger at your gate, the foe to seek to do you harm. You know,
Wow.
and then it you know it goes on in that particular instruction where it says, and then he will smile behind your tears, you know, and then with your tongue the Holy One will speak. When you practice
Right.
that level of sacrifice and service,
Yes,
and service is healing.
it is.
Service is healing. When you do good deeds and you serve, your soul is being nurtured.
Yes, it is.
You know, your soul and your spirit is being nurtured every time you serve. That's why the prophet stressed, serve your kin, your nearer kin, those who serve your kin, those who are no kin, stranger at your gate, the foe to seek to do you harm.
Yeah.
You know, because it's healing.
And then you will smile behind your tears.
Right. It has a great benefit. It has a great benefit behind it.
It has a beautiful benefit behind you know, serving. Service it's a part of humanity. Right? It's a
The
part
object of our organization is to help in the great program of uplifting fallen humanity and teach those things necessary to make our members better citizens.
And so how do you know that you're moving?
An organization with a Rotarian complexion.
Come on, Mo.
Profit was something else.
It was something else.
Yes.
And so
profit.
how do we know that we are progressing? You know, because as Marcus Garvey said, progress is the attraction that moves humanity.
Well, people let you know you're progressing. I can see my own. I only see my progression through others' reaction to me. It's the only way you know. It's not something you can't be self-proclaimed. It's not. It don't work that way.
No.
It's only you will only know you're progressing, you're evolving. You will only know your growth and development level by the way people react to you.
Right.
You know, in all walks of life,
Yes.
people can see when you have evolved, even when you can't see it. You know, so you definitely need other people to tell you where you are along the way, grade you. You can't grade yourself.
You can't grade yourself.
You know,
reflection is the business of man. You know,
Mhm.
but we're not talking about in a carnal way.
Right? No.
You have to reflect on your own imperfections in order to grow.
Right.
How can you correct yourself?
Because that's what that's the wise man. You know, humility and wisdom go together. You know, the wise man feeleth his imperfections and is humbled. You see, so we know that humility and wisdom goes together.
Yeah,
You have to be humble.
That's right.
You know, you have to be humble.
That's right, Mo. Wow. And so, as we identify ourselves beyond the trauma, you know, as we heal, you know, continuously heal, it allows us to correct, realign, and reawaken to purpose. It allows us to correct, realign, and awaken
to purpose. Praise Allah.
You broke all of this down from the prophet's words. I'm just giving you the keynotes that from our dialogue, because we dialogue a lot, so we wanted to really tune into this thought of healing yourself, continuously healing.
Can I take 1 second to give it Islam to Brother T?
I wanted to do it first. Praise Allah.
Okay,
but you
brother, Yeah,
You
yeah.
go.
Islam to our good brother T. Hopkins Bay.
The second.
May Allah continue to bless the Hopkins Bay family.
Yes.
We watched the brother T. Hopkins Bay Senior. We watched the celebration of his life. It was wow. It was real touching. It was powerful.
Listen,
it was powerful, and I want to continue. We want to continue to give honor to brother T. Hopkins Bay for his strength.
His strength,
to be able to make it such a epic occasion. And we learned so much about a celebration of life. I saw so many nuggets. I took so many notes from it. Yes. So praise Allah to the Hopkins Bay family.
I want to also give honors. Camel walk with my husband.
Mm-hmm.
I know that was an amazing feeling. How I know that? Because I had the opportunity to administer my dad's going home service. Mm-hmm. And so you were strong. Yep. You were poised.
Yes.
You were.
It was fun.
You were amazing. It was fun. And I'm going to tell you, I used a whole box of napkins almost.
Yeah, it was fun.
Every time I put it on, I couldn't watch it until I got home. I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this fully through.
Yeah,
it was on point. It was love.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes,
thank you. Thank you for sharing.
And that's another thing too. I wanted to thank you for allowing us to have the experience, because we weren't able to be there.
Right.
But we still was able to have that experience.
Thank you.
To see the malls, Cyrus Hill, Temple 34.
Yes.
All the malls around the nation. The mayor of Jersey was there.
Yes.
It was beautiful.
And then your daughter's
the mayor of Philly. I'm sorry.
And your daughter's reading, was amazing. Her demonstration. It shows so much love for her grandfather and these lessons and how you all hold each other up. It's amazing to see it. So thank you for sharing. That was powerful.
Yes, it was.
It was powerful.
Yes, it was.
I had a video with your dad singing at your mother's birthday party.
Yeah, you couldn't find that video.
I couldn't find it for nothing. I wanted to play it, but everybody kept asking for it. I'm like, I've been looking for it. So if anyone sees it on Facebook, because I know I did post it at the time, I just can't find it anywhere because I want it so bad. But Brother T. Hopkins Bay Sr. was actually singing to his mother. I don't know where, and he was jamming while he was doing it. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Yes. So thank you, Brother T. Hopkins Bay. We love you and we love you and the family. That's our family. Y'all know how we do.
Yep.
Praise Allah for your demonstration. May Allah be pleased.
And that was the part of the great work.
That's part of
that demonstration right there when we send our loved ones off like that. That's a part of the great work.
Prophet Noble Ali brought us these divine keys to help us do these things.
Yes.
Because I can't, imagine how we would be able to demonstrate that as ministers. It found like when I saw my grandmother, she was a minister. My grandfather, it seemed like that was so far away to reach to be a minister. You understand? And now that we have the opportunity to be raised up in that way as a nation, I'm so grateful for
that's right.
These lessons. I'm grateful.
That's right.
I'm thankful. But let's get back on these keynotes, Brother T. Berry Bay, because reflection, questions. What truth am I ready to face within myself? This is after all of you said what we have to do. All of the modalities of practicing to be better. What truth am I ready to face within myself? This is one of the questions we need you to ask yourself.
Okay, truth.
You don't have to answer it because remember, this is sacred. This is not an outward show.
Right. It's the building of the inner temple. That's right.
Because it can be something really personal that you don't have to share.
Yeah.
But what I do recommend is you not looking for someone to validate you.
Right.
In this question. Don't ask someone else, what are you ready for? You should know it by your connection with Allah, with your unfolding
right
with the great God Allah. So that's one of the questions. What truth am I ready to face within myself? The second one was, how does my self-study support my growth? My growth relationships. Not just one relationship. It's plural. Your growth relationships. relationships with your children, relationship with yourself 1st, with your children, with your spouse, with your neighbors, with Allah. You have many relationships. How do you nurture them? And what category are you putting Allah in? Because sometimes we put Allah on the back page, back burner when we say, I'm not going to join the temple until I get my money right. I don't have enough money, or I have all of these things going on. But that's a part of the experience. The trauma. Or the experience of losing a loved one or taking care of a loved one. All of these are a part of your experience to make you better in your purpose.
Right.
And you got to know how to.
And everybody has a purpose.
Everybody has a purpose.
Oh, that's one of my truths. That's one of the things that I've learned to embrace, as I get older, that everybody has a purpose.
Yes, everybody.
You can't discount anyone. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody's a teacher and a student. You can learn from anyone. Nobody's nobody's exempt from learning from or teaching.
Right. Right.
Everybody has a purpose.
Right.
Everybody's relevant. Everybody's of importance in some way.
And we have to remember, every reflection brings us closer to our higher self. When you reflect, that's why it says reflection is the business of man. A sense of his state is his first duty. You are in charge of you.
Yep, that's right.
You are in charge of your behavior, your words, your thoughts, your deeds. You are in charge. We are creators, and we make our own.
That's right.
And so, what am I creating? What is my daily practice in becoming better? So that's one of the keynotes, Brother Baby. Every moment of reflection brings me closer to my higher self. Another keynote: growth without consistency is like building without a foundation.
Growth without consistency
is like building without a foundation. What does the prophet say about the
He said, the constancy of thy virtue shall crown thee with honor. One thing I've learned about consistency and constancy is that we have to pay close attention to what we're being constant at. Because just as the constancy of our virtue shall crown us with honor, the constancy of our vices shall crown us with dishonor. See, we have to
say that again.
The constancy of our vices shall crown us with dishonor. Sometimes you have to reverse it to see the other side of it. We have to be careful of what we're being constant and consistent in. Consistency is not always a good thing. It's what you're being consistent at.
Right.
You see? Because the constancy of thy vices shall crown thee with dishonor. Just as the constancy of thy virtue shall crown thee with honor.
Right.
So we got to be careful that we're not being crowned with dishonor. Because we're exercising we're consistent in our vices.
Right.
Because the great work is the alchemical great work is about the transforming our vices into virtues.
Right.
And we do that by way we think and our practice. Practice creates the process.
Right. Daily rituals, prayer, silence, journaling, devotion, becoming sacred.
And that's why the Quran constantly talks about application. Application is very important to know that the instructions are to be applied. And as I often say, what the instructions look like in between the pages is not going to necessarily look the same when they are applied. Right. So sometimes we can see the application of the instructions and take the application as a flow. Because when you're not practicing, you don't know what application is. We can just get caught up in, as R. Jones Bay always say, recitation is no proof of elevation. Right. We could just get caught up in just regurgitating the instructions, mastering, reciting them, memorizing them, but not actually applying them.
Right.
And so then when they apply, it looks weird. Because
sounds weird sometimes.
everything's looking, you'd be like, what are they doing?
Do it, right,
This is instruction so-and-so applied. This is what it looks like.
right.
I challenged myself to that. I had to really look and I say, what would this instruction look like if it was applied?
Look,
You know?
it's funny you said that because I have something in here that says it's spoke about the daily rituals, but I also wrote the Creator meets us in our rhythm, not just our requests.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
So, yes.
There's a rhythm.
Yeah,
There's a rhythm.
that's the application.
Yeah.
That's the application. You don't want to get some of the comments.
Yeah. So let's get some comments. We might have to have part two in this one because I have so many keynotes left here.
I see you was loaded today. You was ready.
I was ready for you.
Wow.
I was ready for you today because
I like a healthy dialogue.
A healthy
Talk about
dialogue.
the Quran and the Prophet. Don't do
that's
that.
right. Praise Allah. So we do have some comments
You
here.
got Grand Sheik's on it too.
I saw
see
Grand
Brother
Sheik. I'm
Hassan
trying to
up
find his comment right now. It's Grand Sheik, brother. That's Anderson. I'm Annie Albe. I thought I saw it. T. Hopkins Bay said Islam family.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. It's Islam. I see that green color.
That cleansing color.
Cleansing color.
Praise Allah.
Praise
That's right.
Allah.
That heart chakra, right?
Hot chakra. That's right.
Honest to you, brother. Sorry, Seal.
Praise
Allah. And happy belated birthday to our sister Tanya.
Yes.
Celebrated
praise
her birthday the
Allah.
other day.
Yes, indeed.
That's right.
May Allah be pleased to honor man. It's to honor Allah.
That's right,
sis.
Sister. That's right.
That's right.
Grand
To
Sheik is
hold it back is
temple
both
number
mean
3.
and unjust.
Yes.
Okay, praise Allah. I think and she had another.
James Coleman Ill, Temple 34. Islam, brother James Coleman Ill,
What do you see?
Temple 34. James Coleman Ill. That was, James Coleman Ill was my first experience I worked with as an MIT.
Right.
Brother
Right.
James Coleman Ill. That brother is
Islam.
steadfast and he's a born mufti.
Right.
Yes.
Praise Allah,
Brother S. Anderson Bay, assistant chairman. Yeah, Islam, brother Coleman Ill. I always like to give him honors. When I first joined Temple 34, that mall was on post.
Right.
James
right.
Coleman Ill. You'd be surprised, who's learning from you. That's why I always like to remind him of that.
Right.
Don't
right.
underestimate yourself.
Don't.
You never know who's learning from you by your actions. Praise Allah for brother Coleman Ill.
Praise Allah. So I'm just sharing some of the comments here. We thank you so much for tuning in and taking your time out to share your time with us.
That's right. That's right.
But I believe, Brother Barry Bay, we're gonna have another episode
of the great work.
Of the great work. He said Islam, Lieutenant. Praise Allah.
Praise Allah, yeah. Brother James Coleman Ill.
Yes.
Praise Allah.
We have so many comments here, and I'm just skipping. Britt Bay is in the building. Islam, dear sister. I missed something else. Grand Sheik said, very proud of you too. As a marriage unit,
praise
official show.
Thank you, Grand Sheik. Appreciate that.
Likewise.
Likewise. That's right.
Islam, praise Allah, and honors to His prophet. Honors to each and every one of you. And I pray that we shared something here today that will help you in your life. And we want your growth and development.
And we want to still remind the Moors to keep a divine thought out for our good brother J. Fraser Bay.
Yes, indeed.
His dad made his transition.
Yes.
Keep a divine thought out for him. Let's send some healing thoughts and energy his way.
Yes. So, we will. I don't want to go into another keynote. We can't get into it because this was really.
Praise Allah. It's always,
we
Allah willing, it's always another.
We try to make sure that we complete the thought.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave off on a
In
note
60
there.
minutes, yeah.
But
Yes.
any closing?
And also, we want to give honors to Brother T. Irons Ill.
Yes,
More
more
I'll give
wear.
Brother T. Irons Ill.
Praise
That's
Allah.
right, St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis,
Yeah,
Missouri. Praise
powerful,
Allah.
powerful Muslim.
Yes, he is.
Yes, Temple 5, Temple 5, Grand
Praise
Sheikh
Allah.
Austin Ill, Streeter Ill, all of those Moors, the Brown Ill family,
Islam, yes.
Temple 75, the Thompson
Yes,
Bay family, and all the Moors,
praise
and
Allah.
Clay Bay, all those Moors.
Islam sister Lisa Johnson Bay, Islam sister A. William Zill. Thank you for tuning in. I believe Sister Sydney Bay was on here. I didn't see her. May Allah be pleased and increase strength and comfort be upon the Praise Bay family.
Praise Allah. Thank you, Brother Chairman. Appreciate that.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Alhamdulillah. Praise Allah. Sister Cindy Bay was on here too, but I can't. The messages are going so fast that I can't see it. So I'm sorry. If I missed you, you know it's not on purpose. Charge my thought, my head, not my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that you said you had no more thoughts to share, right? Okay, so we're gonna
thank you, Brother Wasari. He said we look sharp.
praise Allah. Praise Allah.
Thank you, Brother Wasari.
Please tune in this coming Friday for our National Holy Day meeting on the National Facebook and YouTube page. On Sunday we have Sunday school at. Okay, let me go back. Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in for our Friday Holy Day meeting. And then on Sunday school starts at 2 p.m. on our Facebook and YouTube national page. Tune in, I believe, for Sakara Sacred Healing's final episode of the season. Support our sisters. Man, they spoke about the safety of sisters. Please tune in if you missed it. It was a powerful demonstration. They had part 1 and part 2. We need to protect our sisters. So tune into that. Thank you, sisters, for sharing your healthy dialogue.
And Cyrus Hill, you're a native of Brooklyn, so you know we sitting on the East River right now.
Right there.
The Brooklyn Bridge.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah. Praise Allah. And also, we said enough. We said enough for the evening. We shall meet again on another Wellness Wednesday at the rise of the sun. And with that, we say
peace. Peace to our good brother S. Anderson Bay, our assistant chairman. Always tuning in, and peace on earth and goodwill to men. Peace, Moors.
Praise Allah.
Praise Allah.
Peace on earth and goodwill to men. Peace.